Good evening.
So I'm pretty sure we're live. Should be on. Yep, we're live. Let me.
Awesome. I like being live.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So welcome everyone to the Raven Wolf channel. Today
Yay.
we have the R&R show and my co-host Ransom, DJ Ransom from the 420 TV News
YOLO.
Films. I could never say your name right.
It's just DJ Ransom, the Freedomist, man. You don't have to say all the 420 TV news, Freedomist films, the whole
Yeah, it's a lot.
breakdown.
It's a mouthful.
Plus my social security card, place on the map, and driver's license number, along with my prison number and any other identification I may have.
Whatever.
Just the short
So,
name, DJ Ransom, the Freedomist.
hi everyone in the chat. Happy Sunday. Hi Anya, Sailor Aqua, Spokane, Jenny and Matt, Rebecca, Doyle, Alex, Butterfly Kisses. Everyone, welcome.
Well,
So,
um,
what up, Andrew? So, are you ever gonna come to screen?
no, actually, my computer's frozen right now.
Oh, well, that is great. Hi, Dustin, Delaney, Nefertiti. So actually, oh, I think Ransom is gone or not. Are you still here?
Yes, but hold on. I can't start my video because the computer's frozen, even though the camera's on.
All right, let me get the chat on my
Don't
phone.
worry, I will be there shortly.
Okay. Well, I was
R2D2
gonna
is not
say
cooperating
why,
right now.
huh?
R2D2 is not cooperating right now. There we
There
go.
you are. All right. Well, hi.
Victory!
So I was gonna say, what inspired me to do this show with you because I was on Aluna's chat the other day,
Yeah,
and Aluna was talking about the Mayans and stuff. And as you guys know, I'm all about the Mayans, right?
the Mayans, yes.
And a troll or somebody in the chat was saying how the Mayans did sacrifice. And I said, my reply to that was, yes, and most ancient cultures did, right?
Yeah, either humans or animals.
Right. And and I said, well, is it much different? Well, and I said, no, I'm not excusing them. I'm just stating the facts. And is it much different from nowadays where, we also have sacrifice, baby sacrifice by, having abortions and there's all the
Yeah,
kind of stuff that actually you're going to be talking about later on, correct?
yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on in the world right now that could classify as human sacrifice.
Right.
And well,
So,
animal sacrifice too as well. Both.
right. So, yeah, Butterfly Kisses was there. Yeah, she remembers that. So, I chose to transmute it something negative to a positive thing and actually try to look into that, how the sacrifice, human and, sacrifice was done before and now. How is it now? So I'm actually going to be covering the past, the back then part, and Ransom is going to be covering the sacrifice of nowadays.
Yeah.
So,
Well, at least my opinion on where I think it's
right,
at. It's my opinion, folks. Don't get
right.
offended. Or do. I don't know.
So that is, that was the inspiration that I got from that thing that happened. So
So
that's right.
something.
Uh, so we're gonna do, what did we say we were gonna call it? Chat breaks.
Oh yeah, chat break. Check the chat out just for a minute. And the
Yeah,
reason I say that is because it's hard to. check that out, and then people get mad and they feel like they're being ignored, or that like you just were mean to them because you're like reading articles and stuff and not looking to the chat. I've had some nasty mail about how I'm just a rude live streamer.
Really?
But whatever, dude. I have ADD, so I'm lucky I can keep a coherent thought going in the first place.
So we're gonna do our presentation, and throughout this whole show, we're gonna be taking chat breaks. So
How about now?
so
You got
anyway,
the chat open? Because I don't.
I
My
did.
computer was
I
frozen.
do.
I'm lucky to be here.
I do, but I'm about to close it
You
because
like
I'm
my beautiful window?
screen
This is,
sharing.
I just changed the background in here, and just so that there's different ambiances going on. Like, I don't. It'll probably sound weird over the mic, but like, I just listened to the audio of this for
Oh,
like.
that's what it was. I was listening to that earlier, and I was like, "What the heck is that noise?"
Yeah,
I thought it was a computer thingy.
I do different ones though. I like the ones that are like specialized to a certain area.
Wait,
Like
did I say smoke breaks? Or
smoke break. Hey,
no,
I don't know.
chat breaks.
That's a
Chat
good
breaks.
that's a good idea, right?
Well, I don't know if I did say smoke breaks, but I meant to say chat breaks.
Sure.
Um, so, um, all right. So the
All
first
right.
thing that I want to start with is in the Popol Vuh, that's the sacred Mayan book of creation and mythology and stuff.
Yeah.
There's I don't know, have you heard of the Mayan twin brothers that went to the underworld to defeat the lords on the underworld?
I wonder if they're the same
They
space
played the ball game, huh?
down south. Like even in the south in the Incans, they talk about the Space Brothers, and I wonder if they're the same thing. Or like the Sumerians talking about their space brothers, the Inky and Enlils.
But these
I don't
were
know.
twins,
They have
though.
brothers all over the place, and
What
like
about
most of
the,
them,
the parents of Enki and Enlil? Did
yeah,
they,
there's
weren't
stuff like that.
twins
But
or anything like that,
Even the
right?
Greeks and the Romans and everybody's got their weird little families with twins, and I don't know, man.
You
There
know
must have
what's
been some
weird? I
really
want
weird shit going on in the ancient world.
whatever.
No, for real though.
No, yeah. Okay, so
So tell us about the twins. You know what? That's even the basis for the Star Wars whole story. If you're a dork and you know the beginnings of Star Wars, because they didn't put it in the movies. But if you know the beginning, it started out with a set of twins, a dark one and a light one, meaning
mm,
evil, good and evil or whatever.
yeah, yeah. They supposed to represent, the opposite, the sun and the moon, the day and night, all
The
of that.
yin and the yang. Don't yang my yins.
So I'm gonna be reading a little bit about that story, so you guys know. And the reason why I'm starting with that is because it relates to the sacrifice, right? So just, yeah,
The sacrifice.
part of the Mayan culture. All right, so can you see that?
Absolutely.
So the name of the twins was Hunapu and Shalambalenke.
Shamalala. What?
So, oh, what the heck? Social science? No.
You think it really sounded like that back then? Because that shit is hard to say, man. I'm like, damn, these people had like a very articulate language if everything really sounded like some of the names.
All right. So, there are actually two sets of twins. The first hero twins, and then the kid is the second twins. Oh my gosh, hold on one second. I need to.
Those damn dogs. Those damn dogs are always causing
There's
trouble.
people outside by my patio, and she just is crying at the door. So, sorry.
That's okay.
And my neighbors upstairs kids are running, so yay. Anyways, let's get back to this. So the first hero twins, Hunahpu and Balenque, are the second hero twins in the Mayan mythology. Like all Mesoamerican cultures, the Maya believe in cyclical time, including periodic cosmic destruction and renovation, called the ages of the world. The first pair of divine hero twins were Maize twins, Hunter Hunahpu and Seven Hunter Vuku Hunahpu. And they lived during the second world. Remember, they believe, the Mayans believe, well, we believe that, the Mayans believe that now we live in the fourth creation of the world, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Hunahpu and his twin brother Baku were invited down into the Maya underworld, Xibalba. That's the underworld called Xibalba. To play the Mesoamerican ball game by the Xibalban lords, one and the seventh death. There they were fell prey to several trickeries. On the eve of the scheduled game, they were given cigars and torches and told to keep them lit all night without consuming them. They failed in this test, and then penalty for failing was death. They were sacrificed and buried, but the head of the Hunahpu was cut off, and only his body was buried with his younger brother. The lords of Xibalba placed Hunahpu head in the fork of a tree, where it helped the tree bear fruits. Eventually, head came to look like a calabash. I don't know what that is. The term for calabash is that for a bald-headed person. A daughter of one of the lords of Xibalba, of the underworld, named Jasquik, Blood Moon, came to see the tree, and Hunahp had talked to her and spit saliva into the maiden's hand, impregnating her.
Damn.
9 months later, the second hero twins were born.
Damn, just from a little spit in the hand, huh? A little shine job, and the next thing you know, it's pregnant. I think somebody lied about the encounter there. I think there was a little more than spit on the hand.
Whatever. So now, dating to the hero twins myth. In prehistoric, oh wait, did I skip? Okay, yeah, I did skip. So the second hero twins. In the third world, the next pair of twins, Hunahpu and Xalambalenque, avenged the first set by defeating the lords of the underworld. The name of the second set of the hero twins have been translated as Exbalamque and Jaguar Son, or Jaguar Deer, and Hunahpu, one blowgunner. When Hunahpu and Xalambalenque are born, they were treated cruelly by their half-brothers, but make themselves happy by going out every day to hunt birds with their blowguns. After many adventures, the twins are summoned to the underworld. Follow in the footsteps of their fathers, Hunahpu and Xalambalenque, descended to the road of Xibalba, but avoid the tricks that capture their fathers. When they were given a torch of cigars to keep alive, they tricked the lords by passing off a macaw's tail as the glow of a torch, and by putting fireflies at the end of the tips of their cigars. The next day, Hunahpu and Xalambalenque played the ball game with the Xibalbans, who first tried to play with a ball made of skull covered with crushed bones. An extended game followed, full of trickery on both sides, but the Winley twins survive. So in the prehistoric sculptures and paintings, the hero twins aren't identical twins. The older twin is depicted as a larger than his younger twin, right-handed and masculine, with black spots on his right cheeks, shoulders, and arms. The sun and pranghorns symbolize Sunapu. Although often twins wear deer symbols, the younger twin is smaller, left-handed, and often with a feminine guise. With the moon and the rabbit his symbols, Shalabalenke has patches of jaguar skin on his face and body.
Whoa.
But anyways, so
that's
the story. Huh?
You want me to show you that?
Yeah.
I know that exact thing that you were just describing there.
All right, so chat break, not smoke break. Chat break.
Right? Oops.
So let's see.
All right, so let me share this with you because I was tripping on it already. Right here. All right, you see the jaguar print on them and the black spots and all that stuff?
Mm-hmm. And see that's like the ball game.
Yeah, right here. They're still tripping on it down there. The ancient Mayan ball game. Would you play a game where you knew that, like, at some part of it, you're going to be fucked up?
Yeah, well, and that's where it comes to the sacrifice part. You want to stop?
Yes, but I'm tripping out that I was tripping on this guy right here.
Yeah.
That exact thing that you just described there. Yummy.
Oh.
You got some coffee there?
Yeah.
See how you are. That's messed up.
So I said all of that about the twins because the ball game that the Mayans played, and all throughout Mesoamerica, apparently, the winners of the game were said to sacrifice, and it was an honor to get sacrificed, right? Now I'm gonna let me find it before I screen share this. All right, so why did the Maya perform different human sacrifices?
I don't know. Why? No, I'm just joking.
You're so dumb. Okay, hold on. Let me see. I'm not going to screen share. I'm just going to read it to you guys.
All right, just read it to us. Shoot.
Okay, so like human societies, the Mayan grapple with uncertainty in the world, erratic weather patterns which brought drought and storms, the anger and the violence of enemies, the occurrence of disease, and the inevitable of death. Their pantheon of gods provided some control over the world, but they needed to communicate with those gods to perform deeds showing that they were worthy of God's luck and weather. Many Mayans performed human sacrifices during particular events in Mayan society, and they provide us a bit of enlightenment. Human sacrifices were conducted at specific festivals in their annual calendar, at a crisis time, at dedication of buildings, at the end or the beginning of warfare, at the ascension to the throne of a new ruler, at the time of a ruler's death. Sacrifice at each of these events likely had different meanings to people who conducted their sacrifices. So the Maya valued life highly, and according to the religion, there was an afterlife. And so human sacrifice of people that were cared for, such as children, was not murder to their eyes, right? But rather placing that individual's life in the hands of the other deities. Even though the highest cost to an individual was to lose their children, those child sacrifice was a truly holy act conducted at times of crisis or sometimes of new beginnings.
I'd have had to skip out on their religion. I'd have been like, you know what? Thank you for offering, but I'm going to skip it. I'll just stay down here with the normal folk. I don't need to be up with the deities of any kind. I'll just skip out. I'm opting out.
At times of war, at a ruler's ascension, human sacrifice may had a political meaning. in that the rulers were indicating his abilities to control others. Scholars have suggested that public sacrifice of capture was to display the ability and to reassure the people that he was doing everything he could to stay in communication with the gods. However, in Nomada in 2016 has suggested that the Mayans may never had evaluated or discussed the legitimacy of a ruler. Sacrifice was as simply as an expected part of the ascension. Many Mayan priests, and I'm about to be done here, many Mayan priests and rulers also made personal sacrifices using obsidian knives, stingrays, spines, and knotted cords to draw blood from their own bodies as offerings to gods. If a ruler lost a battle, he himself was tortured and sacrificed. Luxury goods and other items were placed in the sacred location, such as this great cenote at Chichen Itza, and the ruler's burial, along with sacrificed humans. When people in modern society tried to come up with the purpose of human sacrifice in the past, we were prone to put our own concepts about how people think about themselves and individuals and members of society, how authority is established in our world, and how much control we believe our gods have over the world. It makes it difficult, if not impossible, to parse out what the reality might have been for the Maya, but nonetheless fascinating for us to learn about our own selves in the process.
Yeah, well, they believed there was a lot of power within blood.
Yeah, they saw it as the blood is the essence for life, and yeah,
it definitely
and
is.
that just giving a some kind of offer to the gods was minimum, because whatever.
Damn, and I don't even like donating blood, much less those motherfuckers. See, because I'd have had to skip out on their whole religion. Not me, man. I'm keeping my blood. But they're not the only ones. All these other religions trip out on the blood. Even Christianity with their, when they drink their blood of their Christ, that's kind of a weird mock sacrifice thing. Cannibalism. Eat the bread, eat the body, the Corpus Christi. What happened here?
I'm back.
The internet? What happened there?
No, I had to go get my dog because I got tired of her whining at the door.
Oh, I see.
So I had to go get her.
It ended, and I was like, I thought the broadcast was over.
No, sorry, I didn't even say, hold on, I'll be back. So,
well.
So I wouldn't want to participate in those kind of rituals or.
Well, it's like it doesn't matter where you go back to, like Moloch or fucking Baal or any of the Druid stuff. Some shit in Africa. There's shit in South America. See, like the Incans, they didn't sacrifice people, but they did sacrifice like llamas and different stuff like that. So when the Spanish got there, they right away said that they were, sacrificing people with the blood because they had altars and blood and stuff like that and called it satanic. And then it turns out that they were just doing animals because there's no evidence that they were killing. Like the Mayan and the Aztec left evidence of dead people behind, like where their skulls, their bodies, all kinds of stuff. So we know they were doing it, but they were doing it all over the place.
Yeah.
Different pagan stuff did that too.
And there's another part that I want to read to you guys, but also they did talking about the blood thing. Do you know what the bloodletting is? The ritual of bloodletting?
No, what is it?
So it's another aspect of the Mayan blood sacrifice and blood rituals with bloodletting. In the Popol Vuh, in the first Maya pierced their skin to offer blood to their gods Tohil, Avilix, and something. Mayan kings and lords will pierce their flesh, generally lips, ears, or tongues, with sharp objects such as stingray spines. Such spines are often found in the tombs of Mayan royalty. Many nobles were considered semi-divine, and their blood of the kings was an important part of certain Mayan rituals. Often those involved in agriculture. Not only male nobles but females as well took part in the ritual of bloodletting. Royal blood offerings were smeared on idols, dripped on a bark paper, which was then burned. The rising smoke could open up a gateway of sorts between the worlds.
You know, that's trippy. And all of these people thought they were doing something new when they and got their tongue pierced at the thing. They were like, "Oh, this is cool. We're new. Like we're doing this." And the Mayans were doing the same thing, but with like stingray things and different stuff. I'm just like, damn, no thanks. That seems like that would be very painful. And the whole thing about letting your blood out of your body, it's like
but I was telling you that they had the whole concept to a T, because if you let out more blood than you're supposed to, then you die. So they knew exactly how much to take out, where you will also, they will do it for to create altered state of consciousness.
Yeah, it's called lack of oxygen, and they're going slightly retarded every time they do it. Or
yeah, that's what you were saying. Yeah, so they will do that. There's actually a story in the Popol Vuh that and I show you the picture. I didn't save it, but the one with the
you can just hyperventilate.
The king and the queen is taking the robe with the spike.
Yeah.
And right when the minute, like when you're about to pass out because you're bleeding out, that's when you will get visions. But yeah, that's a little too extreme.
I know, that's kind of weird. It's like those people that choke themselves out when they're jerking off and then they accidentally kill themselves because they go too far. It's the same thing. They're going for the same trip. It's a lack of oxygen to the brain, and for some reason people think that's a high, which that's not a high, that's you dying.
And that, here, check this out. Captive kings and rulers were often highly priced sacrifices. In another carving from Sachitlan, a local ruler, Bird Jawar IV, played the ball game in a full gear, while Black Deer, a captured rival chieftain, bounced down. Oh, this is what I was talking about. Bounced down a nearby stairway in the form of a ball. Remember?
Yeah. It's always the balls.
It is likely that the captive was sacrificed by being tied up and pushed down the stairs of a temple as a part of a ceremony, including the ball game. In 738 AD, a war party from Kirawa captured the king of rival city-state Copan, and the captive king was ritually sacrificed.
Wow.
So,
you ever trip on like those, you remember when we were talking about that article about, I think it was the Aztecs though, not the Mayans. They had the little pyramid of skulls and they uncovered back there and they dug it up and it's like everything's decorated with skulls. Those are all people that they killed and used for like bricks.
Yeah.
I mean, that is trippy shit, man.
So one last thing here, two last things, and then we can see what's going on in the chat. So to the Maya, death and sacrifice were spiritually linked to a concept of creation and rebirth. In the Popol Vuh, the sacred book of the Maya, the hero twins, Hunahpu and Xalambalenque, must journey to the underworld before they can be reborn into the world above. In another section of the book, the god Tohil asks for human sacrifice in exchange for fire. Whoa. A series of glyphs deciphered at the Sachipilan archaeologist site link the concept of beheading the notion of creation or awakening. Sacrifice often marked the beginning of a new era. This could be the ascension of a new king or the beginning of a new calendar cycle. This sacrifice meant to aid in the rebirth and renewal of the harvest and life cycles, were often carried out by the priests and or nobles, especially the king. Children were sometimes used as sacrificial victims at such times. So, far to the north, the Aztecs would become famous for holding their victims down on top of the temples and cutting out their hearts. And that's the Aztecs, not the Mayans, by the way.
Yeah.
Offering their still beating organ to their gods. The Maya did cut hearts out to their victims. Oh, never mind. As they can be seen in certain images surviving the Piedras Negras historical site. However, it was much more common for them to decapitate and disembowel their sacrificial victims, or else tie them up and push them down to the stairs of their temples. The methods had much to do with who was being sacrificed and for what purpose. Prisoners of war were usually disemboweled. When the sacrifice was religious linked to the ball game, the pioneers were more likely to be decapitated or pushed down to the stairs.
You want to hear something trippy, though? They know that the Aztec people came from further North America, probably around in like, even the Mayan too at one time, because there's evidence of the same type of pyramids and stuff with the Mississippian people. But there's a couple of pyramids that's in areas that's known for corn growth. So they track the corn with the migration of the people. So at least for sure, the Aztec, there was no evidence of any human sacrifice until they came across the Mayans, which is weird because and then you read all these articles talking about the Aztecs came in and they learned this behavior, I think, from the Mayans, and they took it to a whole nother level, and with different reasons. Like they would have different reasons. Some of it was just for sheer entertainment.
Yeah, and I agree with you. They took it to a whole different level, and I think they also had a part of destroying the Mayan civilization. I think that
because like a lot of people think the Anasazi were both ancestors to like the Hopi and all that stuff, but also people that were moving through North America going south, because there's evidence, like, and then even their own even like the Aztecs' own story of going down to the cactus and finding the right area to live in based on the eagle eating the serpent there, and that's tripped out because the Mayans were more of a serpent thing than a bird thing, but then it became the bird people, and they just took it to the next level.
Yeah,
which I didn't open up anything, but that seems exactly like right now. It's like there's little wars, and then when the U.S. does it, we take it to another level and make sure that there's millions and millions of people that die. And then there's the communists and socialists that also do that, and they're always using these symbols of eagles to kill a lot of people. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Roman, pick a era. They're all through there.
Yeah. So pretty much with all that said, and I know there's so much more information that we could be here talking about it for a long time, but what I come to the conclusion about the ancient cultures doing, and I would like to know your opinion too, Ransom, the reason why so many cultures around the world that, human sacrifice, I think there's one thing in common: to please the gods, right?
Yeah, that's what they say, or at least blame it on. But there's always the possibility that they were just like today. They're just a group of sick people that liked carnage and killing and all of that stuff. And hey, if I say my God says do it, well, who are you to argue when I got an army behind me? I mean, that goes all the way into Christian times. Like Christians were doing it. The Islam did it and is doing it now. They continue to do it. The same thing. It's like join my God, or we'll just sacrifice you right here. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we're not much different nowadays from where they were back then, even though we think that's horrific things that they were doing, yet we do our own horrific stuff nowadays.
Yeah, so definitely.
You want to take over?
All kinds of crazy shit that I think of, but we'll just go through a couple of things. So right here, we'll not start there. We'll start over here. Here's 10 contemporary cases of human sacrifice. Human sacrifice is usually viewed as sadistic and inhumane practice of superstitions of ancient cultures. Most of us are sure that it was eradicated over centuries ago, but it's now completely extinct. But sadly, that's not true. Cases of human sacrifice, and this article is about the mainstream's acceptance of the presence of human sacrifice in the world. So that being said, so here it is. Here's 10 cases of stuff. In 2011, Amelia Espinosa right here. If we were to rank the cults and religious associated most modern human sacrifices, Satanism would certainly be at the top of the list. Satanists are somewhat prone to getting lured by ritual killing. One such case is the murder of 42-year-old California woman Amelia Espinosa. The killer was her own son, 18-year-old factory worker Moses, maybe, I don't know why there's an I there, but whatever, Merez Espinosa, and it was speculated that he was distraught over his girlfriend's death in a car accident, and that may have led him to the gruesome murder. But I mean, I don't know what one has to do with the other, but anyway, it started with his satanic beliefs, supposedly. And then there's this girl, some people took her, some farm people just took her, some poor farm people, and they thought their crops would go better if they killed them. I mean, the list goes on. And a lot of them are satanic, but not all of them are satanic. Like sometimes there's some of these that are in Africa where just because they're albino, they think that if they kill and eat them, they'll gain some kind of ridiculous power. But these things go on and on all over the world. Some of them are really, really spooky. Not even going to get into it to that. But then, like, what do you call human sacrifice right here? This is the executions from state to state, you know, and as you can see, our government is steadily killing people. Now, I'll admit that, some of these are murderers and probably don't need any kind of empathy, and they're satanic creeps that were probably doing their own sacrifice. But just to point out that the government does indeed do it, and they do it everywhere. Look, my state's only killed one person. Some of these
My
states
state killed 500 and something, right?
Yeah, look, total executions since 1976. So they've killed 1,488 people like that. But that's just this. Now, you could argue that most of those people may or may not deserve that. But then you think about war. You got these weird people in these, secret societies and bankers that get together and they decide which wars they're going to have. And then you got, 123 million people dead in all the wars in the 20th century. There are 37 million military deaths. Those are people that were just ordered to go die and kill people. And then 27 million just regular civilian deaths, right? And that's not counting, communism that just killed off their own people from democide. That's the number one way human sacrifice is done. And then you have these events. Now, this is where we get into where I'm talking about. This is my opinion, but my opinion, 9/11 was the birth of the New World Order. It was a blood sacrifice, and they made the whole world participate, staring at this, looking at this, hearing about it. They pre-programmed it. They pulled it off. They did it.
I want to say something.
And, they got this chick here that's Colombia looking on it, and it's, the 9th month.
Well, right? I want to say something because it just kind of clicked to me. You know how the Mayans will do sacrifices when it was a time, a new cycle, a new era, or when they were doing anyways, I feel like this the 9/11 sacrifice that was done was like at the beginning of a new era, like, there's a lot of stuff changed after that, don't you think?
Oh yeah, definitely. This was the birth of, I'm like, seriously, they dropped these two towers, and then what they put up in between it, like One World Trade Center. One World Trade Center. I mean, they're not even hiding the fact that they did it, right? And so they killed all these people, and then they have this odd obelisk
Obelisk.
building that they put up, right? And then I don't know where it is, but right at the right time, it shines this light over to where these buildings were, where the people got killed. So it's illuminated. So, and this looks like a Hathor needle right here, which would be an old incarnation of the same thing we're calling Columbia now.
Wow.
So I think events like that are, and then you got like this thing, the Vegas shooting, right? And then you're telling me that this isn't ancient related right here. Oh, here I opened the picture already. So you got the 91 festival, right? On October 1st. So on October 1st, on the first day of harvest season, in front of the Sphinx and the obelisk and in front of the pyramid, they supposedly kill or do kill, probably because, I'm pretty sure they killed quite a few people here in this whole weird thing that was going on right here in front of the Sphinx.
Yeah, I think so too.
But think about it, it was Route 91, right? And then the month.
Yeah.
The date there, it's on it's crazy. It's another 9/11 event.
Another blood sacrifice right there.
And then talking about Mayans and does the shit still happen? Here's this. Look at this article. The blood pump from a still beating heart is the purest form of energy inside the horrific Mexican satanic black mass with live sacrifices that shocked and disgusted tourists. Now, not all of it's people, but in my opinion, if you'll sit there and do this and you get off on doing this to an animal, it's not much to the next step of a human being that you don't like or whatever. If this really does give you, purest of energy, then what would a human being give you after this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, see right here. Look, an American visitor said the next step would be human sacrifice. Other questions whether they had done it already. The twisted cult believes smearing blood or sacrificed animals can save lives and used to pledge souls to Satan. How about that? Isn't that nice? Now, thank God this is the really small minority of people believe stuff, but there are American Satanists, and then there's the Luciferians, and then there's, like Albert Pike. And then you got the Crowleyites that know that there's not really a Lucifer or a Satan per se, but try to do more ancient, stuff like that. And then today you got people like MS-13 that do the same thing. They cut out the heart, they decapitate, to let the bloodletting come out by stabbing them 100 times. It's a whole fucking Mayan. It's a Mayan human sacrifice tied to crime. Decapitated, cut out the heart, threw them in a ditch after the bloodletting, down a little, like a little pyramid thing. And then I'm not going to read this whole thing, but this is Aleister Crowley's book, Magic in Theory and Practice. And then after a bunch of weird ass shit talking about, cutting each other, that real magicians that practice real actual magic, separated, spelled this way, not like the regular way, but with the K, that, you could do different spells and different things with your apprentice and different things. And then they get into, sacrificing virgin rams, and the right shape with the blood. But then, but for the highest spiritual working, one must accordingly choose that victim which contains the greatest and pure force. A male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence is the most satisfactory and suitable victim. And this is getting into human sacrifice here, not the rams. And then
wow. Wait. You can't just jump and not let me comment on that shit.
Oh, you go for it. You go right ahead. I was just pointing out that if you see what Aleister Crowley's saying, he's talking about killing a child. And, here's this is all I had to say with that, is this. Here it is. I mean, just look at that. This is how many children we're killing off instead of letting be born, in my opinion. And that's a form of child sacrifice. And then not to mention all the people that are dying from pharmaceuticals, vaccinations, all of these other people that are dying for the new world order, for the elite, just like in old times. But go ahead. What were you going to say about the Crowley shit?
Do you want to stop screen share? Are you done with that?
No, I just thought I'd let it keep ticking.
That's so sad.
Look, there's been already supposedly 10,000 since I loaded this page.
Damn. Just the fact that you can see it like with your eyes and see the amount of, and it just keeps going up and up and up. It's freaky. It's like,
Yeah, these are, but this is like child human sacrifice because these people never get born. And in my opinion, there are, a couple reasons why an abortion might happen. But if you look right here, even down right here, look, this is only U.S. this year due to rape or incest. And that's the really low amount, right? Compared to the number of abortions. Look, that's just in the U.S. That's 871,518, and only this, this amount is things that you could argue might have a reason to actually do that. But the rest of these people are just people that just don't want to have a kid, or they were told that it's a human right, that they could just go change their mind, and they decided they don't want it. It's a human right, except for it's minus the human. So I don't understand how it's a human right. It doesn't even make sense. I mean, the whole concept.
Yeah, it's not a human right to decide to decline for vaccines. Like,
no, that's not a human right. No, your safety is not a human right.
So, yeah, I'm glad you have this. I didn't know you had this. I'm glad you're showing this because it makes people have a, when you see something is different than just hearing it,
Well, it's just a number.
I know, but you put something into content and visual.
Let's reload it. Let's reload it and start at 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just saying, like, those all could have been genius kids or, the next, no telling who they were going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're talking about overpopulation. See, when you add on all of this, and then now think about all of the majority of the population right now is, past 50 years old. They're getting into the elderly years because of lack of having children for a while. So the elderly outnumber the young, and they're all going to die off around the same time, right? Yeah. And then the people that are left are only having a couple of children here and there, and those kids are like, most of them are autistic or fucking, some kind of diabetes or fucking leukemia or whatever. But anyway, you can see how that number just keeps climbing. So I mean, I think we'll get the point. But in my opinion, that's a human sacrifice, and you can get into all kinds of other stuff. Death from the cops that kill people all the time. And you might say that's probably not what happened on most of them. But you think about it, if you're a satanic little fuck and you like doing shit like that, who's going to stop you when you got a badge and a magic costume? Or doctors that let people die because they want to make money from the donated organs. And there's been lots of cases of that happening. That's a human sacrifice for money. And then the wars, that's another human sacrifice for money. We're killing, we're dying, we torture people over money. It's fucking bizarre.
Oh, yeah, you didn't even brought up the flag thing from your family thing.
Oh, yeah, well, I was going to, but you said you had something to say about the Crowley
stuff. Well, no. So that thing that you read, that it said that, what was it? You don't have it open again anymore.
No, it was the theory and practice in magic.
So that's from the Crowley book, correct?
Alice Crowley book.
So
explaining how to do magic properly.
So
sacrifice, blood sacrifice. To
me, I haven't read Aleister Crowley book. I'm aware of what he's done, but I can't say I read his book and I know what he's all, But for the fact that is, hold on, let me just say how my rational thinking of this. by knowing that that's in that book that says child sacrifice is preferable, whatever.
Yeah, but think about it, not a dumb kid or a retarded kid. It has to be an intelligent kid so that they know what's happening to them.
It just makes it even more
It's the
sick.
next level of sickness, but I guess that's where the freaky supposed energy comes from.
But what I'm saying is, like, I cannot understand how some people that have read the Aleister Crowley book, when you ask them, what do you think about Aleister Crowley? Huh?
He's great. He climbed. He's just a mountain climber. You know, he knows a lot of esoteric knowledge though. So you know that we give him a pass.
So it's okay that, like,
No, I think it's that people they haven't really read it. It's just kind of like a cult thing to like them, and they don't even know why they like them.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, like when I will hear people saying, "Oh, well, Aleister Crowley's not that bad of a guy. He's okay. He was into, whatever, but he had a lot of, like." To me, I just don't understand. Doesn't connect the dots that, oh, okay, so it's okay. Like, no, like, I don't agree with anything that has to do with taking somebody's life.
Yeah. Well, you know, they don't know those parts of the thing. Like there's a whole thing, about Aleister Crowley. He would want to chop women into 9 pieces and light them on fire. But before you light them on fire, you got to. Well, actually, you don't light them all on fire. You just carve different demons' names into the parts, and then you carve the most powerful demon into the head, and then you light that on fire. And this is some woman that was supposed to give herself up into the fucking Church of the OTO or whatever the fuck it's called. And then people are, they argue that Charles Manson had nothing to do with that, but he did in fact have relations with that same church and the whole Madame Blavatsky. She's so great. She's so nice. She was into that shit too. It was the concept of defiling oneself and whatever. And there wasn't much options in the Victorian era anyway. But there's different levels of it, just like there is of anything else. Some people think they're actually worshiping Lucifer or Satan, like the Catholic version of it. And then other people actually think they're worshiping like these Bohemian Grove people, where they're out there worshiping Moloch or Baal or fucking,
Yeah. Yeah.
Even there's a little weird thing that we do for Christmas that a lot of people don't know. And you sing the song talking about the Yule tithe. Do you guys know what that is? It's a little log that you burn in your fireplace, but it represents a baby. Of course, they stopped doing those little child sacrifices, but nobody even questions some of the little weird things in our supposed Christian religion that's not even from Christianity.
And it's still pagan.
Why would you a Yule tide? Why do you bring a tree inside and all that stuff? It has nothing to do with Christianity at all.
Everything is like pagan stuff.
Well, yeah, but there was so many different pagan things. You can't even narrow it down or blame any one culture on, like, just because one did sacrifice doesn't mean all of the tribes or all of the people that believe different ideas were doing sick shit like that. I'm sure there was a balance, like there is in every era, of good people that are obviously know that's fucked up, and then the other people that think that they're going to get some kind of juice out of it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat, and Pyramid 7 says the whole do what thou wilt is just a cop out of the nasty slough of pedo, etc.
Well, it's not just that. It's the whole thing is you just do whatever, because you're a god yourself. You're putting yourself in the position of a god. So you should be able to do whatever thy wilt, and that shall be the whole of the law. But when you get into their real belief system, the Thelmaism, I guess you would call it, really the religion, they're waiting for a whole new era of Horus where, the entire landscape will be covered in blood, and then they'll start the whole era of do as thy will. And I'm saying these fuckers triggered it. They think it's happening. They started it on 9/11. That's what the New World Order's whole thing is. They just have different views of who's ancient bullshit that they're worshiping.
Wow.
Like, it tells you a lot that the queen sits on that stone that's supposed to be the headrest of Jacob whenever he fought the angel. So I don't know. There's a whole weird thing behind that too. And then there's connections with the Egyptians, with the royalty and the Transylvanians. And just think about Vlad the Impaler. Islam was afraid of Vlad the Impaler, which we later, made up the whole Dracula thing about Vlad the Impaler. But he really did impale people and just put them out on stakes all over the place at the borders around his castle. And supposedly he enjoyed, once in a while taking a bath in some blood.
Yeah,
like in his house, like filling up his bathtub with human blood, taking a bath in it, and going, ah.
Then there was a queen that did that too.
There was also another chick that did that too. They kind of gave
her servants and the female servants. Yeah.
They gave rise to the theory, but you think about, he was the Draco family, and Prince Charles thinks he's the reincarnation of that guy. So I wonder what they're doing over there at the Windsor family in the UK. With all that gold, waiting on the Anunnaki to come back so they can pay them and be the only. You know what? I think they just want to. There's several countries, and they just want to be the ones in charge whenever the rents due. You know what I mean? So they got to off the other people so no one else can have the deal.
I don't know, but there's sick Fs. So can you elaborate more on the logs and the babies thing?
The Yuletide.
What's that?
You put a log in your fireplace there. It's like I can't remember exactly. I'll have to look it back up. But basically, there was an old pagan god that you would put the baby in the fireplace. You would pay the tide, which was one of your children. Then it turned into a different tradition. But they throw things like that in there that are so similar to other things. That's what I was trying to say is in Christianity, they just absorbed all these customs and little things that they liked from all kinds of different tribes throughout Europe when they were, when the Roman Empire rebranded as the Vatican. And then they, you know what I mean? Because the Roman Empire was having trouble fighting all the barbarians and the, what we would call pagans now and druids.
Raman said, Google it and share it.
Google it. Well, I will have to do a whole thing and find the whole. I know that there's a Christian version of it. It's just like everything else. They have different,
What is it? What?
Yuletide. Yule, I think. I don't know. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Oh, good. Here. I'm sure Anya knows what Yule is.
Find something about it here real quick.
It's a festival observing the historical Germanic people.
Yeah, I know what the new version says, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Scholars have connected the celebration to the White Hunt to the god Odin. Etymology.
And you know what I've been feeling like? Because when I make my videos, I've been noticing that Google seems to be shrinking.
Your Google search?
No, I mean the information available seems to shrink. Yes, but I remember reading all this stuff here and then.
So history of June.
I could find it again.
So I'm looking at the chat. Hi, everyone that we missed saying hello.
All right, I just got attacked by McAfee. What the I hate when I get my web browser stolen.
So.
Wow, there's all kinds of stuff. But you remember when you used to look up something on Google and you would find like, it would list a bunch of stuff down, and now it always comes back with like just a couple of things.
Yeah.
And you noticed on YouTube now they're correcting you if you talk about something. They put a little Wikipedia bullshit above your stuff that says that you're crazy or you don't know what you're talking about.
No, that hasn't happened to me. I can't do search on Google. I'm the worst. I don't know how to search.
Well, It was funny on Alex Jones today. They were talking about that people are having to change the way they search for things, like say it in bizarre ways to fuck with the algorithm so they can actually still get shit.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
That's funny. Davis said, Northern California loves Raven and Ransom.
Awesome, man.
Hey, Bergron.
Yeah, I never understood why, like in the ancient religions, like they, like even in the Old Testament, they would sacrifice. Like even all the way back to supposedly Cain and Abel, they were already sacrificing stuff because the Lord liked the smell of that stuff.
Yeah, that's why, where I was reading that the Mayans will put it on a certain kind of paper and then burn it. And the reason to burn it is also to attract the gods with the smell of the blood.
Yeah, because like I found this one article I wanted to look at, and then I'm getting McAfee attacked.
Bye, Denise. Thank you for stopping by.
Or I could buy a baby cowboy country dancer. What the fuck's that got to do with my search?
Oh, I was Ultraviolet is asking, what kind of transmitting have you been doing? Just curious if you don't mind me asking. I heard you mention it earlier. Oh no, just something negative to something positive. Actually, the inspiration to do this show talking about sacrifice now and then, is that how I title it, right?
Yep, I think so.
Yeah, is because I came across with something negative. Somebody was telling me about something, and you have to watch the beginning. I don't know how to explain it. It was presented as a negative, and I turned it into a positive thing to educate people and learn about these ancient cultures and how we, even nowadays, we're still doing human sacrifice. So that's what I did with transmutating it.
Yeah. And then I trip out on how much reading I have to do to get to the point sometimes.
So what Raman is asking, what's your kitten's names?
I only kept one because nobody wanted it, and we named it Callie. It's that calico colored one. And then I already had 3 cats: Lily, and a Squeak, and a boy named Velcro. So it's a mother daughter and a mother and son. I have 2 that are really like.
That's cute.
4 cats. 2 of them are related to each other. Each. I'm coming across some garbage, but I will get to that. It took me a while to find a place where I could just find a copy of that Crowley book to find that spot, and then I had to scan through the whole book to get back to the spot where I was looking at and reading.
So are you gonna share
that on a part 2? Actually, I was thinking, how Wayne was talking about, he wanted to talk about some stuff, and I'm sure he had some different stuff. I only just spent like 10 minutes going looking for human sacrifice, just regular stuff like that. Think about if you get in depth with looking up secret societies, cults, old rites from ancient worlds that people nowadays may be copying. Like, what did all those elite people do in the pyramid on 11/11/11 whenever there's supposedly an Arab Spring going on and all kinds of crazy shit all around Egypt? But they closed down the Great Pyramid of Giza and allow the elite to go in there and do what? I don't fucking know, but that happened. No one really talked about that. That's like it went down the Mandela memory hole.
I didn't know that until you mentioned it before.
When was that? Everybody's tripping on the 11/11/11 code. That's the only thing I know that's significant about 11/11/11 is that they did that.
When was that?
11/11/11.
What year? This year?
No, in 11.
Oh,
11/11/11.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. What's up? Are you?
Oh my God.
You must have some vapors over there.
Oh my gosh, I was just not paying attention. Got it, 2011.
Yeah, right. No, I don't know what they were doing in there.
Oh God.
Or like, what do you think they all did down in Antarctica?
Oh, so, oh,
Like, why did everybody like go down there all of a sudden? What did they find? You think?
like when Biden went there, are you talking about?
All kinds of people went there, like French president, Russian
Last year,
people,
wasn't it?
fucking
Or
astronauts.
2 years ago?
Yeah, it was weird. I think Kerry even went, right? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, what are all these elite people doing down there? Did they find some more old cultured stuff that they're not going to share?
I don't know. People are
You don't
laughing
think
at me
that's
in the
weird that,
chat.
like, you know, in the Iraq War, the French and German archaeologists had just uncovered like 200,000 new Sumerian tablets that hadn't been
Transcribe.
translated or none of that stuff, and they were in the basement of the Iraqi Natural History Museum. And then when the U.S. went in on, I believe it was 3/3, March 3rd. You know, Mars is the god of war. Bush had to go in there, and then we went in all the way in there, and we didn't stop at the oil fields or the oil ministry or take the airport first or none of that stuff. We went right to that museum, and then supposedly some looting had happened, and all of the tablets went missing. Who do you think got those? And you know what's funny about that is Saddam Hussein was saying that he was Nebuchadnezzar, that he was the reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar. So I think he was trying to tell the world that they uncovered the text about stargates and shit like that, because in the Bible, Nebuchadnezzar is the guy that sent for the Jewish people to come over with their special costumes and go into the flaming door. And they were in there with the Lord. And then there was, there were more people in there. So wonder who they were contacting.
Well, so they just have those tablets and they're not gonna share to the public.
I don't think so. I bet some of them are all the cool ones, the good ones that are like technical manuals. Because the reason I think there would be technical manuals because they kept other stuff like real estate logs of who owned what and stuff like that, and they kept banking logs of debts and loans. They kept recipes of beers and foods and different stuff. So why wouldn't they, have technical manuals on how they did things?
True.
That it doesn't make no sense that they wouldn't have those.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, but anyway,
we only get the stories like the myths and stuff, and then we're supposed to, cut each other up and sacrifice each other for those myths.
But do you want to say anything else in closing?
No.
Oh, wait, you never show your flag. Whatever.
That's all right. We'll talk about that on a different time, and then I'll figure out this log thing.
Okay.
Yeah, the poo poo.
Alrighty.
That's funny because I think of poo poo every time you say that. Popo vu. Popo vu.
You're funny. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the information that we show here. And we will see you guys next week on another R&R show. So
on another R&R show.
Thank you guys for watching, and thanks, Ransom. I'll talk to you later.
Later, bye. Dude.
Oh.
This thing says I'm still live on YouTube, so I'll take this opportunity to take over the Raven Wolf channel. This is an absolute cool thing. Too bad I didn't have a news program set up for this opportunity. She has a habit of doing this. Remember the one time that the 7 serpents and his wife were on, and she left him like this and the camera was still on? So I wonder how long it's going to take her to figure out that she could come back, because it says it's live on YouTube. I don't know if it's live or not. Let me open up the chat room to see if it is. At this hijacking going on here. me check it out. Yeah,
Hi.
it says it's live still.
Hello.
Oh, look, you're back.
Oops.
No, I was just gonna hijack this bitch.
I was watching you on my phone. I heard everything that you said.
Yeah, right. And I was saying, I wonder how long it's gonna take her to figure out that we're still live.
Well, I figured it out. And you were talking about how when I did it to Seven Serpents.
Yeah, and then that one time you did it to yourself, where you just had to, like, I don't know, unplug the computer or some shit.
That was the first time I did a stream, though, to my defense.
Yeah, that's pretty funny stuff, man.
All right, let's try this again. I will end this. I will not
just stop recording. You press the stop record or the stop broadcasting.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There you go, and then we're out. And later.
That's embarrassing. All right. Good night, y'all.